Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Hilal Giso, and I'm super excited to welcome you to our 4 week of From Design to Market series. Tonight, we'll be diving into the most exciting and essential part of tech, which is front end development. This is the beginning of design to life and creates a very interactive experience we all love on web. So, before we get started, let me give you a quick rundown about this amazing community behind this event, which is WTM, which stands for Women Tech Makers, and Women Tech Makers, the global initiative led by Google that supports women empowerment and take to visibility, community, and resources. So, whether you are a student, professional, or passionate about technology, WTM is all about helping you grow and connect, thrive in a tech space. So, you're proud to be part of this incredible movement and to create space such as like this, where we can learn and build together. So now on to the main event of this evening. We're absolutely thrilled to welcome Hassan Abdullahi, a WTM uh, ambassador and a talented front end developer at Sadiq Global Apps. So she's here to guide us through the building blocks of web like HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, and all the tools you need to turn ideas into a fully functional website. So whether you are a beginner or just want to polish on your front end skills, tonight is a great session that is packed with value. So without further ado, please help me welcome amazing Hassana Abdullahi.
Well, thank you very much, Betel, for that warm welcome. So, without further ado, let's dive into our session for today. Um, because of the what's it called, I wasn't able to create a proper slide, but please bear with me.
No.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So today I will just be sharing with you all how the web works and an introduction to HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, how HTML, CSS, and JavaScript works together, and we'll also be building a simple form with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So how the web works. The internet is a global network of computers that communicate through standardized protocol. The web, or the WWW as we call it, is a service on the internet that allows access to documents and resources via browsers using hypertext transfer protocol. So what this basically means is like the web um, is like a library full of resources where you can go and request for maybe like a book, a particular book. I'm just using this for example. You can request for a book, and once your request is sent to the server returns you with that particular thing you are looking for. So what I'm trying to say is, for example, we could just go online and say this is our Chrome, right? And this is the web, for example. We could say what is HTML, and immediately we type that. In seconds, you can see there's a lot of resources here for you that you could actually that is explaining what HTML is. And the first one here is even from the dictionary, hypertext markup language. And basically, that is what the web is, and that is how it works. So, how do we come about this? Like, how do we, how, what comes together to build up this web is a combination of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So, HTML is basically the building block of the web. And what is HTML, guys? It is just hypertext markup language. It is a language that the web understands very well. So HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language, it gives structure to web content. Examples of HTML elements are we have the headings elements, which are the H1 to H6, the paragraph elements, tags, which are like when you want to put a particular text in a paragraph. Then we have the links. These are called the anchor tag. They can let you navigate from one site to another. For example, now when I click on this HTML, maybe this particular link that says HTML hypertext markup language, and it takes me somewhere else, it is a link that does that, the A tag. So, and then we have the forms. You know how maybe when you go to a particular site and you want to register for their course and something, and there's a particular form that comes up for you to fill, and what's it called? For you to fill, and it collects your details. All that can be done with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then what is CSS? Like we said, the HTML is the structure of the web, while CSS is what makes the web beautiful. It is what gives the style, color, and basically a very nice layout to the web. Without CSS, CSS, it will just be plain black and white text on the web. You will not be seeing all these colors and fancy aesthetic on the web. So, and the full meaning of CSS is cascading style sheets. It styles HTML content. It adds colors, layouts, fonts, etc. So, and then JavaScript is what actually makes your page interactive. For example, when you visit a website like this, let me see. Mm, okay, so when you click on this button and you see that the home, the what's it called, the nav appears, it is actually the work of JavaScript. It makes whatever button you click on or whatever thing you do, it makes it interactive. It's like the brain behind all what you see. While HTML is just the structure, CSS is the beautification, and JavaScript is the brain behind everything. So JavaScript makes your page interactive. It can change text, show messages, respond to clicks, etc. So please, before we move forward, can any questions? Hello guys. I said before we continue, any questions? Okay, so I'll assume there are no questions. So how does HTML, CSS, and JavaScript work together? HTML, like I say, is the structure. It's just like the skeleton. While CSS are the clothes, the fancy things you put on the skeleton, on the structure. While JavaScript is the brain behind it. It controls everything. It tells the browser what to do when a particular button is clicked on, or what event is supposed to happen when a particular button is clicked on. So without further this thing, let's move to hands-on experiments with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Please, before we start, do you guys have any questions? Can you all still see my screen?
We can. But there's nothing shared on it. Oh, now we can see it.
Okay. So
Is it
this
on
is
there?
VS Code. This is like it's a code editor you use to write HTML, CSS, JavaScript code. There are other editors you can use, like Atom, what other one? Sublime text, but Visual Code is the most used and the most, I don't know, it's very nice to use, and the interface is just amazing. So if we want to create a HTML file, you could just give it any name. We'll call it let's see, index.html. The .html is what is actually specifying the file type. Without putting .html, it is just a plain text file. But when you add .html to it, it is saying that this file I'm creating is an HTML file. So we've created an index.html file. And to start with HTML, there is a structure. So let me just use the Emmet abbreviation to complete it. So the first thing on your, or that should be on your HTML file, is this declaration type, doc type, this first line of code. Let me comment this one's out. So doc type HTML, it is basically saying this document type is of HTML. And then the next we have the HTML tag, which is what you use to wrap your entire, whatever you want to do, you wrap everything with the HTML tag. Then we have the head tag. This head tag is basically where you store the information about the, maybe the page you are working on or the website you are working on. It doesn't display anything. Like for now, when we run this, let me start it. I'm actually using an extension called Live Server. You can install it on VS Code. It's an extension that like automatically reloads your page for you immediately you save something. So I've opened it with Live Server now. You see it is just empty. That's because we have nothing yet in the body. When you want to see if you want to see something on the screen, you have to like put it in the body tag. All the things in the head tag are just like meta information about your site. So let's say my form, the title. I want to try and change the title of my page. So now it's no longer saying documents, as you can see. It is saying my form on the bar. So let's say H1. Now this will be displayed on the document as a H1 tag. Can you guys see on the page
Yes, you can see it.
saying okay, saying hello world. And like I said, the heading tags are up to 6. We have 6 headings, H1 to H6. So let's just try out the all the headings. 3, H3, H4. So what I'm doing actually now is called um, opening and closing tag. Whatever like when you using a tag in HTML, there are tags that are self-enclosed that does not need to have a closing tag. Tags like BR, they don't need to have anything inside them. But tags that actually hold um, text or elements inside them, they need to have a closing tag, which are tags like div, h1 to h6, and paragraph tags, a tag, etc. So can you guys see this? The first one here is the h1 tag, and the second one h2, the third one is the h3, the fourth one h4, and so forth. And then the p tag is just like a normal text tag. P. So can you see? It's just small normal text, and everything is just black and white now. But with CSS, and with CSS, there are different types of styling. You can do what we call inline styling, which is coming into your tag and putting the style attributes. Then you say maybe color red. Now it changed this paragraph text to red color. This one I just did is called the inline styling. And then there is actually one called the internal styling, which is the one you put on your head, on inside your head tag. So you put style, put the style tag. Okay, so inside it now, when you're using internal styling, there are things we call like class name. So you can come here and give maybe this H1 a class name of blue. Then in our style, you can just come when you give something a class name. When you want to call that thing and style it, it usually starts with a dot. Blue color. So now when you go to you see that our H1 is no longer black, it is now blue. But basically, these are just the basics. Now let us do what we are here for. Let us build a form. Now, okay. Okay, so where was I? So let's start with the form. Let me just copy this code here. When I paste it, I'll explain all what it means for you line by line. As you can see, it is looking so pale, so boring, and even hard to see because we've not added CSS yet. This is just pure HTML here. So this form tag, when you're like trying to create a form for anything, maybe a contact form or a registration form, whatever form, it needs to be wrapped in a form tag. So whatever that is going to be like, whatever fields you're going to collect, maybe be it name, email, and phone number, everything has to be inside this form tag. So the label is saying the label of this form is like you're telling you're for like the user that is going to be using your application to know that, oh, this input field is expected of you to put in your name. So you put the label, input type, and there's also something called the placeholder where you can just put enter your name. uh, so placeholder, enter your email. Okay. And then the required is just saying, okay, this you are not allowed to submit or click on the submit button until you've filled all these things that are tagged as required. So when you remove the required from it, it means, oh, even if you did not fill them, you can actually submit. But when you add required to it, it is saying you have to fill this input field before you can submit. So let's see the form now. Okay, so let's add a little CSS to the form. Let's do the internal styling. So as you can see, we've added style, we moved the form to the center, and then I think let us increase the padding of the input field a bit because it's a bit FBX to text to the side. Okay, so let's make it 10 and then border radius PX. Okay, border color. Okay, so let me add to the padding. It's too big. So we can change the color of the button and just call the type button, make say background color blue, and then the text color and just color should be white. And you can also increase the size of the text. So I think font size, say 20 px. So you see it's a bit bigger, and you can have had like this hover effect that when you hover on the button, it changes color. So hover states we want the background to be maybe purple. So can you see it now? All this is done with CSS, but for now nothing really happens when you click on the submit button. So let's build this. When I click on the submit button, nothing really happens because we've not added functionality, which is where JavaScript comes in. So as you can see underneath this my form, I added like a div tag with an ID that says thank you, and then initially I have set the display to none. It doesn't show. Let me remove the display. Can you see it is showing now because I've removed the styling? But let me put it back because we don't want it to show yet. We want it to show maybe when we've successfully submitted the form. So we add the JavaScript to it now. So script, you can put JavaScript in internally using the script tag, or you can just put it in another file and call it. So now we are using the script tag. So what this does is document.get element by ID. Remember we gave our form the ID of contact form. So when we say document.get element by ID, it is going to look for that element that has this particular ID of contact form. Then when it does find it, it adds an event listener. So it listens for submit. So when you click on the submit button, it does this function. It gets the element by ID. It also gets the element by ID, thank you. Then it changes the style from displaying none to displaying block. And what it means that it starts showing on your screen immediately you click on thank you. So let's try it out now. Let's fill the form. And when you click submit, can you guys see that? Hello, please. I would like to know if you're all with me. Better, please. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. We're listening.
Okay. So when you click on submit, it say thank you for submitting. So any questions so far? I like for it to be like an interactive class. You could just throw in your question and we'll tackle it right here, right now. You can also write it down in the comment section if you don't want to. I'll be checking. Okay. No deposit. Okay, so Abdul Majid Muhammad, the main part. Yes, it's actually the basics I'm showing. But if you could explain further, I don't understand what you mean by it is the basics I'm showing. These are just the basic basing. We are not doing anything major here. Um, so unless maybe we could go over what we already covered, let us comment out this one.
Okay, there's one more question that got in. It says, can you please show us positioning,
Position.
absolute or relative?
It's
Or,
okay. So how did I set? I'll please let me start with how I set the form to center without using display and alignment. Okay, so let me start with that. So you see this form tag. This is the styling for it here. I just gave it a width of 300 px. You can change it to whatever. Then how I style it, how I centered it is I use margin 0 up and down, but left and right I made it O2, which means it will give it equal margin on each side. And that is another way to style to center a div without using pad and without using what's it called positioning. So as you can see, it appears in the center. I could decide to increase the size of the form, but it's still going to be at the center because of the margin left and right. I gave it as auto. Let me show you. Margin. Let's say we have to remove this. It is not going to be at the center anymore. So let me put it back. Left margin. So you know margin it has like if you the first value, if you put only one value, maybe 20 px, it gives the 20 px to both up, down, left and right. But when you give two values, maybe 20 px, then you put auto, it basically gives the first value to the up and down margin, while the second value gives it to the left and right margin. So auto now is saying, okay, make it equal on both sides. Give equal spacing on both sides. So the person that asked the question, I hope you got that. Then let's go back to positioning. Let's try out positioning now. Let's use another this thing. So div. So this is a container, and let's say we want to have h1 hello, and then we want to have p that just says, maybe let's just use random words. So this div now, let's call it a card. Let's give it a class name of card, right? And then, okay, that is all. So when we come to our style here, we can say dot card. We want the background color to be maybe aqua. So let's go. Let me go to this thing. So this is it now, right? Then let's say width 10, not width, sorry. Yeah, width. Let's give it 50%. We want it to take only 50% of the screen. Can you see? Then we want it to have a padding because everything is too close um to its container. There's no space. So let's say 10 px all round. Okay. So and then position, relative position means it is going to be like, let me put it in parent container so you can understand. So let's give the container it is inside a class name of container. Then we can call this container, and then we give it position relative. Relative is the default position for every element on an HTML. So every element or every tag, its default position is always relative because. And then when we give this card absolute, let me give this one a width of, you say 80%, right? And let's give it a background color black so that we can see it can we can see it. Okay, so you can see the black container, right? But when you give the card that is underneath a position of absolute, position absolute, the width of this, what's it called, container doesn't no longer matters. As you can see, it's just the inner container we are seeing, and you can actually move it around to wherever you want to move it to. So we can say top, when you give it a container 20%, you want it to come 20% down. Okay, bottom. Okay, left. So when we move it left, it goes 20%. Also, I don't know why top is not working. Let's make it 100%, and maybe adding. Okay, so top 20%, 50. You see, it can move away from the parent container when you give it a position of absolute. But let's say we have to change the position to relative now. You see, it is going to be like it will be in respect to the parent container. As it is expanding or moving, the parent container is also moving with it. But when it is absolute, it is not going to really care about the container it is inside. Can you see the difference, guys? Okay. So please, any more questions can be dropped in the comment section. So relative positioning is like the term relative. It actually cares about the the width or the size of its parent container, while absolute is just like a standalone. It can stand on its own, it can move around on its own without its parent container. Then there's also a positioning called fixed positioning. That one is just like it sticks to one place. It is what is mostly used for nav bars. You see some types of nav. Let me show you. You see when you keep going scrolling, this particular nav bar does not stop showing. It is because it has been positioned to be fixed. It doesn't stop showing in the screen no matter how you scroll down. It's just always going to be at that top that it is. So any question, guys? You can put it in the comment section. Please, do you guys have any more questions?
Any more question, guys? You can drop it on, or you can just unmute yourself.
Hmm? So let's see a simple um, landing page. So basically, our work as front-end developers is to just implement Figma design, or you can actually come up with the design on. Hello, am I still audible?
Yes, they are.
So it's to implement Figma design, or basically, if you are a creative person, you could actually think of the design yourself and then implement it also. So let's see. I'm looking for a Figma design design page. Let me add Figma. Okay, let's look for a simple one that I could give you guys. Okay, this is actually simple. And for layouts too, there's a different type of way you could um, make your layout. There are like the grid layouts and flex layouts, and we could actually with this design, I feel we could practice one of those layouts. Okay. So let us try coding this particular landing page from scratch since there are no questions. Let me create another file. Landing.html. And now I'm actually going to show you how um, external CSS works. So we can create a file where we put all our stylings, style.css, and then in here just start the basic structure. So we have this, we can call this landing page. Okay, so I think it is open now. Okay, so I'll just try and export this images that was used. So export, preview. Okay. If I can't get, we could just pick another image. Doesn't, yeah. So we export this image, and then this particular image, I don't know why I can't find it, so we could just use another image. So we could just pick anyone from the pictures here, and we can down save that. Okay, so let me put all these files I downloaded into my folder that I'm working on so that it will be easier to access. Okay, so now we can start working on the design. Let's put the prototype close so we can know. Okay, so this part is the nav, right? And this is just the hero section. Basically, this landing page just contains a nav and a hero section. So let's start with the nav. So what are the things on the nav? I think we have, before we get into anything, you want to get the structure right, which is the HTML. Then we have the logo, right? Let's put the logo. Let's create a code logo, and then after the logo we have the divs containing the links, and we have how many links? I think here we have 3 links. The first one has learn, the second one has resources, and the third one says facts. So I'm trying to structure it the way it actually appears. When you look at the Figma file, you see that this part is to the left, and this button that says install Kobo drop is to the right. So they are not supposed to be in the same container. So we can put the logo and the links in the same container since they're actually close together. Then outside the container we put the button that says what? That says install Kobo. Kobo drop. So let's open it now. Open on live server. Can you see how it is looking? It is not looking like the Figma design at all. That's because we've not done any CSS related stuff on it. So let me download the logo. Trying to download this icon. It's proving difficult. So since I'm not able to get the logo, we could just use the name, right? Just use the name for now. Just instead of make it a H1, it actually appears bigger than the rest and bolder. So look at our this thing now. So now to get the layout that we are looking for, let's give this div a class name of um, container. Can be anything, but container is what I can think of now because it's actually the parent container. Oh no, yeah, we could give it a container, and then okay, then we can go right into styling. Okay, we say we're going to use external styling, right? So we put the link in the header, sorry, the link tag. So style sheet, and what style are we trying to is styles, to we named it styles.css, right? So now when we go to our styles.css, for example now we say bg background color red. Can you see it actually works? But I'm just testing now. We're not going to give it a background color of red, so you can comment that out. We're going to give it a display of flex, and then we are going to say justify space between. I'm going to give it a space because can you see they're now all at opposite end, but still we don't want it to be too close to the walls, so we could just give it a width of, let's say, 80%, right? Then we want it to be centered, right? Margin, you can give it 0 to top and bottom, then left and right auto, and this automatically centers it. Can you guys see? And I think it's too small now. Maybe let's give it 90. Yeah, 90 is better. So we've done, if you can see the styles, we've separated the links and the logo from the button. Then now let's try and work on the links and the logo. So as you remember, we named the container holding the div holding the logo. We gave it a class name of container, right? So now we can also display. We can set it to flex. It is flex now, and as you can see, it's not equal. So there's a property called items align items center. So now all aligned in, then we can give it a gap because it's too close to each other. We want it at least 20 px, 40. Still close to each other, right? So, or we could also give it justify content space between. Okay, let's just give it 40 px gap or 80. Okay, let's leave it at this for now. And then now we would like to style the A tags in the container. A. So we want to give them MX margin because they are too close to each other. Margin left and right. So top and bottom should be 0, then left and right should be 20 px. Yep. Then we want to hover text decoration. We want to remove the underline, none. Then the color. Okay, let me see what color was used in our Figma design. I think gray. Yeah. So we give it a color of gray. Yep. Or maybe a little bit darker, slate gray would be best. Yes. So we give it font size. We increase the font size a bit. 18 px is okay. No, 19. 19 is fine. And then the H1, we want to change the color to blue. Or what color is this? Let me copy the color from here. So then container, the H1 in the container is what we are looking to style now. Color, give it there are different ways of calling colors. You could either use their name or use their hex code or use their RGB code. But now I'm using the hex code because I don't know the name of the color used. So now it's no longer black. Then now let's work on the button to look similar to this. The color is also this, so let's style the button. So container, no longer container nav. The button under nav. EG background color. I want it to be this. Then the text, the color, the font size would be 20 px. And then the padding, we want it to have padding left and right. So top and bottom can remain as 10 px and the left and right 20 px or 50 even. Yes. Then the color of the text should be white. Okay, stop it. White, right? Then as you can see from the Figma design, it has rounded corners. So we add border radius to get a rounded effect, 20 px. Okay, and you can increase it if you want to. If you want it to be more rounded than this, you can make it 30, 40, etc. But I think 20 is fine. Yeah. So now we are able to make the nav bar look a bit like this, even though we couldn't get the logo, but it's fine. So now let's quickly work on the could anybody chip in and tell me how to go about structuring the hero section? Okay, so I see there are new questions. Um Left to right, then top down, in our divs. Okay, yeah, you can talk. Noel, I see you raising your hand. You can ask your question. It's when you're creating your divs, it depends on the way maybe what you're trying to implement looks like. you have to look at the structure and then think to yourself, how should I do this? What elements should be in the same div, and what elements should be separated to achieve this particular design I'm trying to make. So it doesn't come with it doesn't come with a particular set of rules of how you can use your div. It depends on what you are looking to get out of it. So that's when you decide, okay, should I put so and so together or not? So someone was raising their hand earlier. Okay,
Yes, it was. I think Noel raised his hand, but I think he didn't have any questions. Maybe it was by mistake. If you have any question, you
okay.
can raise your hand and we'll pick you, or you can write it down on the comment.
I thought he wanted to answer. He wanted to answer the what's it called?
Okay, we have one more question from Ermias. It says, "Can you please use
Semantic tags.
semantic
Well,
tags
I
instead
see
of
no reason
definitions?"
for me to use semantic tags now since I'm not making anything. I'm not doing anything serious. That's why I'm sticking to DIVs. But you could use semantic tag. For example, in this instance, the nav I used is a semantic tag. The nav bar I use is a semantic tag. But anything inside, I did not see reason of using a semantic tag inside the nav. So when I'm about to create the hero section now, I could use the section tag because it's actually a different section on its own and it's no longer under the nav. So using the semantic tag is also depend on the kind of um the thing you're building. So for the hero section, anybody wants to try on how we could structure it? As you can see from the design, the left hand side contains the text and buttons, while the right hand side contains image. So any idea, you could drop it in the comment section on the structure.
We have one more question on the comment section from C. It asks, "How do you integrate the Figma design to our front end dev?"
This is that is what we are doing now. We are copying from the design and we are bringing it to life with code with the H1s, the div, the navs, the what's it called sections, etc. So you just look at the design and you can also pick the colors from the Figma design like I did earlier. When you're not sure about a particular color that is used, you could just double click on that particular part that use that color. Then you check in the properties in the design section. Then you pick the color that was used. You go down, you can see all the color that was used there. So you just pick their hex code and then you insert it into your styling. Any more questions before we move to the hero section? Okay, so let me continue. So let me look at the design. The section, it has like two parts, right? And I like separating my parts in using the div container. So I'll put the first part, which is the left hand side, in a div. I'll use the h1 tag for this start spending the smart way. Let me just copy the text from the Figma. You can also copy text from Figma design if you don't want to type it in yourself. You just click on it, copy it, then put it in whatever tag you want to put it. Then also copy this one. And this, from the look of it, it looks like a paragraph tag. So put it. And then after it, we have two buttons, right? Two buttons with, we could actually just download them and place them as image, but it won't be It's not advisable to do that. You rather just put the buttons and put the, or you could actually download it. So I think to make it faster, let's just download it and place them there as image. But you could actually do it yourself. Just download only the icon and put it in a button tag. So I've downloaded this. Let me pick them from the download. You can, let me rename it. Let me rename it. I think the first one is App Store. You see? Wait, just rename it. Let me rename it as icon. Icon and icon 2. Icon 2. Okay. So rename this one to iPhone. Yep. So this is a JPG file and the rest are all PNG files. Okay. So we are getting there. There's the design again, yeah. So still within this particular div, you come in and use the image tags are used for displaying images. You use the image tag src. This is where you put the paths to the image, and then the out attribute is just saying explain what the image is about. Let me say app store button, and then you close it. So the image tag is a self-closing tag because you don't need to put anything in between it. So let's see, icon 2, yeah. So the, as you can see, image the images are side by side, right? So we want to also place them in a div, in their own separate container inside the parent div, so that we could style them to look this way. And then now we are done with the first container, which is the left hand side container. We can just name it class left. Now let's move to the right hand side container, div. Okay. Class right. And then here, basically what we'll be having is just two images, right? I think, yeah. Stop it, Bilal. So copy. The first images is going to be the one of the lady smiling, and then the second is going to be the iPhone image, or which is it? I thought, okay. They could actually be together. It could be like this. So this, in this right hand side, is how you actually see how positioning works, because we are going to use a lot of positioning for to achieve this look. So now we are done with the structure. We could just get right into the styling. You see, with HTML, this is how it looks now. We just plain HTML. So let us start styling it, shall we? Let me put this to the side. Okay. So in our styles.css, we remember we have two div in our section semantic elements. There are like how many semantic elements in HTML? We have the nav, section, aside, header, and footer, and article semantic elements. But for in this case, we don't really need the footer because our design doesn't have a footer, and but it has a nav which we've already used, and it has a hero section. And now we are on this hero section part. So let's go to the CSS and call in our section, because the first thing is in the section we have to separate them. Display. Thank you. Display flex, then justify contents, space between. And you can say, oh, we've been using flex since. Is there no other way to go about the layout? We could also use grid. So let's try to use grid this time around instead of flex. But I just feel flex is easier. Display grid. When you display grid, nothing happens yet. So you have to say grid. I want it in column, grid template columns, and you specify. I want them to have equal. They should take like 50% of the screen. So I'll just say 1FR, 1FR. Can you see right now? But we've not actually added space between them. So we can actually say justify content, space between again. Okay. It then reflect. Oh, we could say this should be 2FR and this should be, yeah, this is way better. This should be 1FR. So this one should take two fractions of the screen, and like we don't want it to be too close to the wall. So let's add a width of 80%. Then we want to center it. 0, auto. Then the centering is too much. Put 90, leave it at 90, but still we want it to come down a bit, so we can add margin bottom top 20 px. Still, let's see, margin top 100 px. Yeah, so it's down. So I like using px for stuff like margin and padding, because that way it is it actually stays the same way even on mobile phones. But um when you use percentage for things like margin and padding, it's because percentage is designed to be responsive, right? So it just looks weird on mobile phone. So now we are done with the section. Now let's do the left hand side section. The left. Let's start with the left hand side. So as you can see, we want this text to be bigger, to look like this. Let's see how many font size was used here. I think 60 px, and they made it bold. So font size, let's use 30 px for our own. Then font. Jamal. Font weight, I think. Font weight. Let's give it, I think semi bold is around 500 to 600. So let's give it 600. Sorry, we should style the H1. The left H1. Still, coming. Environmental 60 px. So now, then we do the section P, the P tag, the text also we need to, the font size need to be increased. Font size, I think 20, let me say 30 px is okay. Then we can make it um, the color to be gray or slate gray. Yep. Then line height is too close to each other. So let's say 10 px. Oops. 1 sorry, 1 em. Oh, 2 is too much. This is 1.5. Yep, 1.5 is okay. So now we are done with this. Now let's move to the right hand side and also style that to look right. So we need to flex, no, we need to flex it. Yeah, display, flex. Yeah, display, flex. We will need to position it to be relative, and then I think, okay. So now we need to call the first image. Let me give it a name. Class name, class iPhone, and then here class just normal image. So here now we call the iPhone and we make the position absolute because we want to yeah, you see, then you can now shift it the way you want it to be. I feel like using flex here would be best, so let's use flex. Yeah, so flex now, then we section the left, we say okay, only take up maybe 50% width, 50%. Yep, this way is better. So now all we have to deal with is this part, right? Absolute if it's okay. So okay, so the other image dot normal fade to green 50% also. 50 is too much. Let's say 100%. Yeah, and then okay. So the right should be with 40%. Yeah, and then to center it. Margin should be also for left and right, yeah. Okay, or margin right only. Hmm. Let's leave it at no margin for now. This is okay the way it was. Then the height, we need to increase the height of the image a bit. So let's see. Now for the position absolute, we've given this iPhone the position of absolute, and we don't want it to cover the image. As you can see, this is just like entering the image a bit. So let's move it away from the image a bit. Position absolute. Then we see, is it right or left now? Let's see, right. Let's see. Okay, right is actually moving, so left it is. Left minus 20%. Okay, 50 is too much. 30. See, let's give it a 35 or 40. Let's give it 40. Sorry, 25. Yep. Then let's move it down. Top 20%. Yeah. So guys, can you see? Think now we are able to achieve, even though it's not exactly the same, but we can also cut to reduce the height of the image. Since we can cut the image. Let's see. Height. I think in the image the height was reduced. So reduce. Okay, too much. Yep. So now we are able to achieve a bit of what's it called, of this Figma design. We implemented it using HTML, CSS, and this is actually how all those amazing sites you go to. This is the building block for it. When you go to say figma.com, so when you go to Figma, so all these things you are seeing was actually started with, structured with HTML, and they used CSS for the styling, and JavaScript was used for the functionality. Whatever site you see on the internet, I'm telling you the building block is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I think if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section. Drop it. No problem, Aisha. Please, I will drop my handles here right now in the comment section. I think on Twitter, I'm at Tech Sultana, and then on LinkedIn, I'm just Hassana Abdullah. It's also nice to meet you, Aisha Hussein. Telegram username. Are you on WhatsApp or Twitter, Aisha? So please, any other question should be dropped in the. Yes, yes, we write the code based on the design, and if you are designing from your head or from your, I don't know how to call it. Well, for some people, I'm pretty sure we are not good with designs. We need to like look at something to know what to do. For people like me, I'm not a UI UX designer. I don't have that creative spirit. I just know how to is it copy? I'll call it, yeah. I know how to copy or imitate stuff. but I have to look at a design first before I can know what to do. While for some it's different, they can actually come up with fine, beautiful design from their code base directly. They don't need to they don't need to go through Figma files. Like the one we did with the form, I didn't look at any Figma file, and you can see that's why it was looking very ugly. We just used basic styling and all. So any questions, please? And if there are no questions, I think that is all. Thank you all for showing up. Um, you can also mail me. Let me draw my email.
Okay, we'll be sharing your LinkedIn with our event summary. So thank you very much, Hassana
Thank you.
Abdullah, and Yopsra will be giving us a closing remark. So again, I would like to thank you and move on to Yopsra.
Okay, thank you
Thank you.
for the questions, and thank you, Hassana, for this amazing session. Also, everyone who joined us today, thank you. And before before we close this, please everyone stay here, and I'll say a couple of things after we let Hassana go. Okay.
Thank you so much, Hassana.
Thank you
It
for
was
having
amazing. We learned
me.
a lot of things,
Thank
especially coding
you.
on a fly. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. So bye.
Bye.
Okay. Thank you all again, and I'll be sharing a link, and make sure to fill out the mandatory attendance form. And after you fill this, you'll receive an email which includes the assignment and all the necessary documents, which is I'm sharing right now. Okay, and also I'll be sharing our social medias, which
Please, can you guys
stay.
excuse me? I'm sorry. The code also, if they want access to it, I'll share it with you guys after the code we used for today's class. I'll share everything with you guys after this call.
That would
Please, who
be
can I
amazing.
share the Miron?
Okay, I will take it from her and email to participant that fill on this link Yapsara shared. We'll share your note alongside with your code.
Okay, and finally, don't forget to stay connected with us, and also feel free to share your projects with us, and make sure to tag us on your social medias, like when you post your projects. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone, and have a good night.